Governor Rick Scott making a campaign stop today in Venice, why protesters blame him for this year's red tide outbreak. Plus, as Florence leaves the Carolinas, floodwaters in the death toll continue to rise. And witnesses to a fatal crash in Manatee County are demanding safety improvements to a dangerous intersection. Your Suncoast News starts now.
You're watching ABC7 News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Jacqueline Matter. Thanks for joining us. Scott Dennis has the night off. Starting our news this evening, politics collided with red tide today in Venice, where Governor Rick Scott came face to face with protesters who say he isn't doing enough to fix the ongoing algae problem. ABC7's Rebecca Fernandez joins us live now from Venice. And Rebecca, what can you tell us about all that happened today?
Jacqueline, Governor Rick Scott was here for his campaign for U.S. Senate, but his appearance only lasted a few minutes because residents concerned about red tide made sure their voices were heard.
Red tide, Rick has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
That was what protesters were chanting as they waited for Governor Rick Scott to get to Mojo Cuban restaurant on US 41 in Venice.
You know, this is our paradise. I don't know where he's living, up wherever. You know, it's just, we need answers and we need someone to help us.
They held signs up saying things like, no one should get sick from a day at the beach, and even a baby in a stroller had a sign asking when she'd be able to swim in the Gulf of Mexico. Many of these residents say Governor Rick Scott is to blame for this year's conditions because he failed to put regulations on pollution.
Water you can't live in and the air you can't breathe in. So what are we living in? Is everyone going to leave Florida?
And the deadly tide is claiming more than just marine life, but untold dollars in lost tourism and businesses struggling to keep afloat.
We have all these protesters and all these issues about red tide, and I wanted it straight from him. This is a big problem, and I don't feel like it's important to throw daggers, but it's more important to actually hear what he has to say and how he's going to solve this problem.
But many supporters like Amy that were there to listen to the governor didn't have a chance. Protest chants from outside drowned out Governor Scott, and he cut short his appearance before leaving the restaurant through a back door.
I think he avoids every kind of protest and every kind of citizen activity that there could possibly be.
Governor Scott will continue his Florida tour throughout the next 9 days, so some of these supporters tell me they hope they'll hear what he has to say about red tide at one of these next stops. Live in Venice, Rebecca Fernandez, ABC7, your Suncoast News. Back to you, Jacqueline.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. The remnants of Florence continuing its second week of impacts today. More than 1 million people still under mandatory evacuation orders, and at least 1,000 swiftwater rescues have been carried out in North Carolina alone. At least 23 people have died in storm-related incidents, and some 523,000 homes and businesses are still without power in North and South Carolina. And let's check in with the latest on that storm with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. And Bob, some of those pictures coming out of North and South Carolina are just devastating.
Storm totals are coming out too, and we're getting over 30 inches reported in Elizabethtown, North Carolina. That's the highest so far, and they're at 32 inches. Now, not much more rain expected. There'll be a few showers around tonight. Wilmington, by the way, which kind of started off rather dry, ended up with getting over 23 inches of rainfall there in North Carolina. Well, the GOES satellite imagery showing the area of circulation is still hanging right there near West Virginia, southeast Ohio, and the eastern portions of Kentucky tonight. It is just now a remnant low, no longer a tropical depression, and not having the tropical characteristics of a tropical system. So the National Hurricane Center calling that at 5 o'clock. And you can see some big storms here, bright white, showing up in Virginia, heading off toward the nation's capital there. There's some severe storms and the possibility of tornadoes there. You can see the rotation and circulation there. A few remnant showers left over, not much into southeast North Carolina at all, but there's where the low is. And as I mentioned, it is tracking to the northeast. A wide swath of North Carolina did get 20 inches plus, counted 25 cities that got at least 20 inches of rain or more. As I mentioned, Elizabethtown, North Carolina getting the heaviest so far at just 32 inches. For us, pretty dry today. A few showers have been popping up here and there, but not much rain at all. We have some showers to the north of us near I-75 into Tampa, north of that. And this little activity right here near Lake Okeechobee pushing off to the west. We'll have a chance to reach our coast later on tonight, so we'll keep a chance for a few showers. And there is a flood warning along the Myakka River at the Myakka State Park, but just barely flooding there. Some of the picnic tables and also some of the trails there underwater. It's at 7 feet and expected to get up to 8 feet, flood stage at 7 feet, so it's right there at it. As far as the Van Wezel webcam goes, fair skies today, lots of sunshine out there and calm conditions out on the waters. We have that west wind with that sea breeze kicking in. We're going to switch it around a little bit tomorrow, more of an easterly component to our wind, which will be good. We'll still get that sea breeze, though, in the afternoon, which brings those harmful impacts of red tide back toward the coast later on in the afternoon. Jacqueline?
All right, Bob, thank you. Neighbors and witnesses to a fatal crash on State Road 64 on Saturday are outraged. Tonight, they're demanding safety improvements to the intersection they say was deadly long before the two teenagers lost their lives. 17-year-old Chase Coyner and 15-year-old Matthew Powers were killed after Florida Highway Patrol says Coyner turned onto Pope Road directly into the path of an oncoming truck. Both people in that truck were thrown out, including a 12-year-old girl named Isla, who remains in critical condition today. Witnesses say there was no way for Chase Coyner to see the oncoming traffic as he tried to turn left onto Pope Road.
If you're in that turning lane, even if you're the first car, if there's cars in the other turning lane headed north, you cannot see oncoming traffic.
We'll have more from witnesses of that crash and hear from a neighbor whose daughter started a petition that already has more than 500 signatures. The State Fire Marshal's office is investigating a devastating house fire that left 2 people injured in Palmetto. The fire broke out at a home on 4th Avenue East around 11 o'clock last night. When firefighters arrived, flames were shooting out of that home. 5 people were inside at the time of the fire. 2 were taken to the hospital. The cause of that fire is still unknown. ABC7 business commentator Richard Stern joining us now. Glad to have you back with us. However,
nice to be here.
Some down arrows, though, that you bring back with you.
Yeah, unfortunately. And while I was gone, the market did really not much of anything. So I guess I'd take credit for today. Or maybe the blame. We'll see. Blame, perhaps, but I think you can blame it on something else. First of all, the impending apparent Chinese tariff increase. We'll see what that has to do with the markets probably tomorrow, as President Trump is expected to make an announcement literally any minute. The big day news of the day was the FANG stocks. They certainly have led the NASDAQ higher all year long, and today just the opposite. The FANG stocks, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, all sharply lower for the day, and as you're about to see, a real tough day for the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at the final numbers from the trading. We were down at 1 point by 124 points, closed with a loss of 92 points, just over 1/3 of 1% at 26,062.12. That on volume of 788 million shares. And here's the NASDAQ. Not a good day, down 114 points, more than 1.4% at 7,895.79. That on volume of 1,919 million shares. And the S&P, well, if those two are down, so is the S&P, down almost by 0.6 of 1%, just over 16 points at 2,888.80. Well, here are 2 names put together that I don't think you probably expect to hear. How about Coca-Cola and cannabis? Yes, I did say Coca-Cola and cannabis. Coke today announced that it is looking into getting into the business in Canada of what is known as cannabis-infused beverages. What that basically means is that, by the way, 1 month from today, recreational marijuana will be legal throughout Canada, and they're looking at possible medical benefits from the beverages. Those specifically are ease of inflammation, they are ease of pain, and certainly help with cramping. So we hope that works out all right, and certainly Coke has not signed a deal as yet, but simply the fact that they're talking about Coca-Cola, cannabis in one sentence. I've been doing this a long time. I don't think I had ever thought I would say those in one sentence. But
I was pretty surprised to hear that as well.
I just did.
All right. Well, you were talking about those FANG stocks, and do you have any news for us on Amazon?
Yeah, not the best of news. Amazon was down over $60 a share today, well over 1.5%, frankly, closer to 3%. And, you know, they've had their terrific day in the sun. Now it looks like they're giving a little bit back.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Richard. We'll see you tomorrow.
You got it.
Well, still to come on your Suncoast News, a look at the aftermath that Florence has left behind in the Carolinas. And Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan will be back with your first alert forecast, plus some tips on how to keep your kids from getting sick during the school year. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The ABC7 Stock Report is sponsored by Sunset Cadillac.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
The final 2018 Accord clearance is now during our model year-end clearance sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American car of the year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for new Accords. All on clearance this week at your local Honda dealer.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Hunger is a growing problem in our area, and a huge number of Suncoast residents are suffering in silence.
It could be your coworker,
your child's classmate,
or your friend fighting to secure their next meal. But you can help.
ABC7 is partnering with local organizations to help feed the Suncoast.
Go to mysuncoast.com/hunger to join the fight. Help us.
Help the hungry.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
At least 23 people are now dead in the aftermath of Florence, including several children. Flooding in some areas worsening and rescues continue. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is following the latest developments from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Creeks and rivers still rising, inundating entire communities. Rescue teams here from across the country out again today, pulling people from submerged cars and flooded homes. This photojournalist from ABC affiliate WSB stepping in to help, rescuing this stranded driver.
And it just pulled me in and I couldn't stop it. I had my foot on the brake, but it wouldn't stop.
These dogs trapped in the flooding among the hundreds of pets rescued so far.
Come on, puppy. The crisis in North Carolina continues. For many parts of North Carolina, the danger is still immediate.
In community after community, including here in Wilmington, long lines for the essentials.
We don't have no ice, no lights, no nothing.
Thousands of homes in the Carolinas now damaged or destroyed, and the death toll in Florence's aftermath still climbing. Among the victims, 3-month-old Cade Gill, killed when a tree crashed into his family's living room, and 1-year-old Caden Lee Welch, his mother losing her grip on him after her car was swept away.
These were dangerous times. This driving through water where the roads are closed is a dangerous for anybody.
And dangers like that are why officials keep urging people to stay
off the roads. At least 1,200 roadways are now closed in North Carolina alone, including parts of Interstate 95. And flooding in some places is only expected to get worse. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Wilmington, North Carolina.
Well, Bob, as she just mentioned, many of those major roadways closed, and it would take almost 14 hours to go around through the other areas that their emergency officials are telling people to take because they just need to stay where they are.
Really, they shouldn't be driving, period. So it doesn't matter how long it takes you, you just stay put until that water recedes. Obviously, it's not raining much there anymore. It's coming from the runoff from the storms that happened over the weekend in the Appalachians. That just all runs down into those rivers and streams. We talked about it earlier, nearly 35 inches of rain at Elizabethtown, North Carolina. So the models were right in that regard. I mean, most areas in North Carolina had at least 20 inches or more, and flooding continues there. South Carolina had some flooding too, don't get me wrong, but even in Wilmington, which only had 6 inches on Friday, eventually ended up with over 20 inches of rainfall there because of what happened over the weekend. Well, we have a different weather here. Lakewood Ranch webcam showing fair weather cumulus clouds around, and those fair weather cumulus clouds aren't bringing much rainfall today. We don't have a lot of convergence set up yet, but that's going to change, I think, as we move through this week. A better chance for showers and storms developing in the afternoon. We'll get back to an easterly wind, too, as high pressure builds to our north. Well, we can say goodbye to Florence. It's now just a remnant low, no longer a tropical depression, heading off through now West Virginia, also southeast Ohio and eastern Kentucky right now. Rather broad area of low pressure there. A little trailing trough of low pressure, though, pretty active this afternoon, bringing some moderate to heavy rainfall, but it's patchy now into central portions of North Carolina and South Carolina, and then stretching up toward Virginia, where there are tornado watches up. Some severe weather. That's a result of just some twist in the atmosphere, really aiding to those possibilities of tornadoes. You can see all the area in green. Those are flood watches, flood warnings continuing throughout North Carolina and eastern and northeastern portions of South Carolina tonight. But tornadoes are a real big factor. There's already been 3 reported Doppler indicated tornadoes there. 1 now in Richmond, Virginia, heading off to the northeast. So we'll have to get rid of that threat as that low pressure heads to the northeast. It will lessen. As far as Isaac is concerned, you know, a lot of people are watching this storm right now. I know I was watching it last week, and it was going to open up to a wave, and pretty much that's what it's done. There's clusters of pretty heavy thunderstorms. It's an area to watch. It's not much of a chance developing, however. National Hurricane Center gives it a 10% chance of developing. And as far as the winds go, down to 30 miles an hour. So a very windy day into Jamaica. Winds out of the north-northwest now. It's moving to the west-northwest at 9. Pressures come up to 1,007 millibars. And as far as the forecast track goes now, with high pressure building over Florida, that's going to block that system from coming into our weather picture at all. It'll head more toward Texas and Louisiana into the future. And in fact, that's where the models are pretty much taking that remnant area of Isaac off to the west. Now, there's no tropical systems on the globe right now. In fact, you take a look at the Pacific, the Indian Ocean, obviously not a problem now, but Atlantic Basin, no named tropical storms, hurricanes, or typhoons. Kind of rare. Got to look at this, too. This is the water temperature of the Atlantic Ocean. You can just follow the path of Florence. That's what these storms do. They cool and they upwell that water, bringing the colder water up to the surface, and that path that kind of bigger here because the storm stayed stationary right off the coast of the Carolinas. Well, the next storm up is Kirk. We've had a pretty active season thus far, and from this date forward all the way to November 30th, the end of hurricane season, typically on an average year, and that's what we're expecting, 5 more named storms. So that's and 1 major storm is still possible on the average for the Atlantic Basin. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we move through the rest of the hurricane season. And a lot of times in the latter half of the season, the Gulf of Mexico becomes kind of worrisome because storms develop in the Caribbean in the latter half of the season and kind of work their way up. East to southeast winds turn to the west-northwest at 5 to 10 knots. We'll have a light chop on the bays and inland waters. The extended forecast then looks like this for us. A chance for some evening showers tonight. Later on, say around 8 to 10. 30% chance for scattered storms tomorrow. We get back into that pattern of afternoon and evening storms, it looks like, right through Friday, with a pretty good chance for those Friday afternoon storms. Jacqueline?
All right, Bob, thank you. In first alert traffic, we're seeing some backups along US 301 in Ellington just before the US 41 intersection. In health news tonight, e-cigarettes have been causing a stir in the medical community and in high schools as well. ABC's Stephanie Ramos tells us why a new survey from the CDC may lead to another headache.
E-cigarette use or vaping has gone up over the past several years, and researchers say teenagers are using it the most. What are the long-term effects? Researchers aren't exactly sure, but do note there is an increase in nicotine addiction amongst teens. Just last week, the FDA called teenage e-cigarette use an epidemic. But what else could be in that vaping cartridge? Oftentimes, marijuana. A new study used data from a 2016 National Youth Tobacco Survey asking students from grades 6 to 12 about their smoking habits. 25% of teens admitted to having used electronic cigarettes. Of that group, 30% used e-cigarettes with marijuana. That number comes as a surprise. Prior reports noted it was between 6 and 18%. High school students and frequent e-cig smokers of tobacco were more likely to use cannabis. The findings are alarming in students and reflect a growing trend that the FDA is hoping to combat. The FDA has fined and warned retailers about selling e-cigarettes to minors. But marijuana, researchers say that's a new challenge. With this Medical Minute, I'm Stephanie Ramos, ABC News.
Well, it's no surprise that when kids head back to the classroom, sometimes they bring home more than just homework. While keeping sick days to a minimum can be a real challenge during the school year, Cleveland Clinic's Dr. Dan Allen says that we can avoid the spread of many contagious illnesses with good hand hygiene. He also says keeping kids home from school until they are better is the best way to let them recover and to prevent the illness from spreading to their classmates.
If they have an active fever, they should stay home. If they're showing any symptoms of stomach upset, vomiting, or diarrhea, they should not be going to school. If they're not able to function properly, they're very lethargic, they're very tired, they're not going to do well at school, and they're probably still infected.
Dr. Allen says it's also a good idea to give the house a thorough cleaning after everyone's feeling better, using a bleach-based solution, and to also wash your child's bedding and stuffed animals in hot water. Coming up, several people injured after being thrown off of a circus camel, and how this beached whale is tricking locals in Madrid. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
If you think it's hot outside, just wait until you see even hotter savings inside. Only at Rugs As Art Hot Summer Savings Sale event will you find the lowest prices on a vast selection of stunning rugs, furniture accents, and accessories. This special event only happens once a year, so hurry in before the best selections are gone. The Hot Summer Savings event ends soon, so don't miss out on the best prices ever. Rugs As Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
Get more for your money at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota. Subaru vehicles hold their value better than any other brand for 2018, according to ALG. And Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 4 years running. The Subaru Outback is an IIHS top safety pick for 10 years running. Lease a new Subaru Outback today for just $249 a month, or get 0% financing with 0 down. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you, with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991. Now, in one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TrueStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
7 people are injured after a startled camel started bucking during a Pittsburgh circus. 2 children and an adult were riding the camel during an intermission on Sunday when it became startled. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reports one child's arm was broken, which appeared to be the most serious injury. That child was taken to a hospital along with 5 other kids and 1 adult. Circus officials did not immediately know what startled that camel. The situation was brought under control and the circus did resume after. Well, as fires continue to burn out of control in California, the latest numbers from fire officials show at least 500 structures are destroyed. More than 3,000 firefighters spent the day trying to get a handle on the unpredictable car fire, now only 5% contained. Calmer winds today meant firefighters used hoses and helicopters, and it could make progress on protecting those homes close to the western edge of the fire. But at close to 50,000 acres, the fire is so big it's creating its own wind. Well, residents crossing the Segovia Bridge in Madrid were taken by surprise on Friday as they spotted what seemed to be a beached whale in the middle of the river. But that whale was fake. The hyper-real looking statue is all part of an art installation by the Belgian artists collective Captain Boomer. Around the sculpture, members of the collective, dressed as researchers, took measurements and threw buckets of water onto the replica. The collective says that statue is a gigantic metaphor for the disruption of our ecosystem. Still to come on your Suncoast News, how Manatee County is making it easier for drivers to know about road conditions. Plus, a look at the controversy surrounding Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh. The story's coming up next.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
If you don't want to fall immediately into love, look away. If you don't want to awaken a desire for excellence, look away. If you don't want to be seduced, please look away.
Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Gettle's got what you're looking for at Gettle.com. 17 new car brands, over 1,000 used vehicles, prices and payments you can afford. Credit help if you need it, and they pay cash for your old car. Plus, Gettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Need service? Gettle's got that too. Gettle's got it. Visit Gettle.com.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with the family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, canoeing, camping, and more. Or challenge yourself on Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy a Deep South dining experience. Book your adventure in one of our members' lodges or stay at the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.